Hello, 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 hello. Um, a little light in here. Not much. It's a cloudy day in the M town. Um, so real quick, I'm not gonna be on live long. Um, Five Below, but what the world needs now is love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Is the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. So I just got through. Hey, in Rachel's place, how are you? I hadn't seen you in a while. Hey, glad to see you, my brother, Memphis own Chris Thorns. How do you do? How do you do? How are you? Um, y'all, this is a quick, like, real unexpected live stream. I'm about to go park, so I can just talk to y'all real quick. Like, you know how you hear something and you just got to get it out because it's like bothering your brain, and at the same time, um, you don't really want to tag nobody's name in the comments. Good morning, Tamika. Blessings to you as well, because you're not trying to get in a beef or disrespect anybody's opinion. But then you just kind of sick of the of the. I'm trying to think, choose my words wisely. You're kind of sick of the mess of it all. I find that we do a lot of talking, y'all. A lot of talking, but not a lot of action. And in doing so, the whole purpose somehow gets lost, missed. I guess that's what I'm saying. So I just listened to Kwame Brown. I actually shared it. And Tommy, I was going to say Tommy, Lord have mercy. I'll park here because they're closed. Yeah, found a perfect parking space. I don't want to drive and do this. Tommy Sotomayor. I don't listen to him. No shade when I say that. I've just never listened to his comment. I mean his commentary. Don't really know who he is to that degree or whatever, and so I have nothing negative to say about him. Didn't watch Kwame while playing. Was it basketball? I don't even know. But of course, you know their conversations are trending. And so today, what I heard Kwame say was, you know, there are a lot of programs, and if I'm wrong and there's somebody that's like closely connected with him and I totally misunderstood what he said, please help me. There are a lot of programs out here basically for black women and young black girls, but not enough for black boys. And I'm beginning to wonder if that depends on what part of the country you're in. Because where I'm sitting at, there's not enough for either, if that makes sense. He talked about how women can go on to get six-figure jobs, but yet our young men aren't able to. He talked about how people aren't pushing trades, how back in the day, people will have 2 to 3 trades, and a man could be a man because if the foreman thought that he was going to talk crazy to him, that wasn't going to be the case. Keep your job. I got something else I can do. I do agree with him on that. He talked about, hey, love. Hey, how are you, Winston? He talked about how at 14 he was pouring what's going on, Chris? I'm sorry. Let me. What did I miss? I'm okay at work as usual. most definitely got you in my prayers. Um, I'll reach out to you off of here so we can talk more before Wednesday. But definitely, most certainly, we'll keep you in my prayers. Um, he talked about how back in the day, like he was pouring concrete at 14. Now, this is something my husband and I have talked about a lot. My husband lost his father at 15. But I kid you not, my husband, I literally, the running joke is he's Bob the Builder. There's nothing my husband cannot build, cannot fix. Um, I used to think of him like Bill Cosby, but I guess the difference between the two is no one else has to come in and fix it. It may take him a minute, or it may be there may have been an easier route, but because he wasn't trained in that area, it may have taken him longer than it would have somebody that's in that route. But oh, Kwame has gone live again. So anyway, their argument, like I didn't know, and so I just was like, so is this about kids or is this not about kids? Because here's the thing, y'all, our children are suffering, period. Um, and we can talk about it all day long. We can have several panels, but until people with money, Kwame, um, until people with um, positive influence, other people with money, affluent people. I'm not going to even say musicians, artists, basketball players, football players, whoever, affluent people come into the neighborhoods where these children are hurting. It defeats the purpose, okay? I listened to Dr. Umar Johnson. Hey, Triple L. So I just got to listening to Kwame and Tommy Sotomayor and don't really know what the argument is about, but I'm just bringing it. Here's where I'm bringing it home, and perhaps putting some things on people's mind. I don't know, because like my mind is just, I'm just trying to get it out. He talked about young boys, and the truth is, I agree with him to this degree. For 3 months, I had 3 young men in my home. Technically 4, but he was away at college, so he was coming in and out. The other 3 were in their senior year of, well, 2 were in their senior year of high school. 1 was in his 10th grade year, but was supposed to be in his senior year. So he was doing all the work necessary to be his senior year. So he did not graduate with the regular class of 2021, but he is class of 2021. We got him registered for summer school, and he will graduate next month. So, okay, that's action, right? And that's not me saying, so I can say, oh, Isha, good job. No, hell no, because that's still not enough, 1. 2, I'm only doing what truthfully was done for me, because Aisha was pregnant her senior year of high school. Aisha gave up her senior year of high school because there were adults around me telling me that I wasn't going to be anything because I got pregnant. There were adults that were angry with me because I was too smart to get pregnant. I knew better than to get pregnant. But that's neither here nor there. But it took some people coming to me and saying, we're not finna let you do this. You're going to finish school. You've made it this far. You're not going to drop out. I don't care what the adults are saying. Because here's the thing. It wasn't my classmates that were clowning me. It was the teachers that I loved, that I had grown to know. I'd been in the school since the 7th grade to the 12th grade that were clowning me. Like, I had to fight to be able to be on the royal court. Not because I didn't get chosen, but because the person over it found out I was pregnant and then wanted to take me off, saying, hey, Houston Bread, thank you, saying I was setting a bad example. Well, if I'm setting a bad example by being pregnant and being here, but still trying to go on, then where do I go, right? And so I went into a little funk, and thankfully, my principal contacted me, who was not black. She was white. And she would not let me walk away. Thankfully, my coach that y'all have met, he's not black. He was white. Said, no, you're going to do better. My drama teacher reached out to me, said, I will let you do your work for the time that you've missed, as well as you can come in and participate in this play. And I participated in that play pregnant. I'm literally on stage pregnant to get my grade up. So I did what I had to do. Now, having this young man in my home, my nephew, and seeing how they're all just not sure what they want to do, where they want to go, because 4-year college has been drilled. 4-year college, 4-year college, 4-year college. Nobody is really talking about trade school anymore. Nobody is really talking about the fact that you don't have to necessarily go to college to make money. And nobody is talking about the idea of following the gift that is within you. What do you mean by that, Aisha? Well, I'm glad you asked. My daughter is gifted in singing, dancing, and acting. She's done it all her life. She's been singing since she could talk. She's been acting since really elementary. And she's been dancing since then as well. My daughter has never had professional dance training before college. And I'll never forget, she would do praise dances at church. And I would watch her that entire week. Like, are you gonna practice? 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 You're not gonna practice? You need to practice. The night before, I would hear the music playing, but I wouldn't hear any moving around. She would literally be practicing in her head. And I remember this one dance that she did, and she was dating this young guy whose sister is a ballerina. And she's actually, her mom actually moved to Nashville to attend, for her to finish high school at this particular dance school or whatever, because that's just how great she is. So she taught T. Amber this, I forgot what you call it, because I did take ballet when I was younger, but you're kind of on your toes. So it's a toe, but not a complete toe, because she didn't have toe slippers. But the way she just, it was like a palais, is it palais? Girl, it's been so long. But basically, you're floating in the air, and you're just, and she taught that to see Amber in less than 10 minutes. And the next thing I know, that Sunday morning, I'm looking at my daughter do this dance and doing it to the beat. And I'm like, wow, she really is gifted. So when she was going to college, we always knew that she always knew she wanted to do a 4-year college. It was in her. I didn't push it. She knew that she wanted her major to be theater arts with a concentration in performance. So that's what we set out for. Now, mind you, we live in Memphis. University of Memphis has the best theater arts program in the state of Tennessee. Austin P, when she graduated, had just created their program, so we didn't know how it was going to be, but we did go visit them. And then Bethel also has a theater and a musical program. But when it comes to Tennessee, University of Memphis is the best. But she did not go to University of Memphis initially. She went to UT Martin. And so she did her first year at UT Martin, and then she came back home and finished out at University of Memphis, because their program was better, and she knew she wanted to teach dance. She wanted, well, not just dance. She wanted to teach dance, theater, singing. She wanted to do all of that. So before this, though, she was looking at different jobs. She had taken, is it an aptitude test? I can't remember the test that you take to determine like what field you should go in or whatever. So she took that test, and then she was just looking at jobs and how much things make. I mean, how much each job paid or whatever. And that's how she was going to determine her major. And I said, no, you go to school for something that you love to do so that you can perfect your craft. And I wish somebody would have told me that. For me, it was a little backwards. See, at 14 and 15, Good morning, Fates, y'all. It's so happy. I'm so happy to see you. Welcome. And anybody else I missed, welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, at 14 and 15, I was singing in local clubs. To this day, I have I don't want to say a fear, um, but it's just like I don't want to. I've done that already, Um, but I never perfected my gift. I never perfected my gift of singing. And what do you mean by that, Isha? Well, I didn't seek professional vocal lessons. I didn't seek professional acting lessons. I didn't seek professional dance lessons outside of the ballet and tap that I took as a kid. And so I knew I wanted her to make sure she did that because I'm a firm believer. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Okay, keep that in mind. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So she decided she wants to come back home because she also knew she wanted to teach. And Martin didn't offer a program where she could do both. University of Memphis did. So she got to her sophomore year, getting ready to go to her junior year. And she was super stressed out. I mean, my baby was so stressed out that her skin was breaking out. At this time, we didn't know that there was a genetic disorder that she has and that my other son has. Didn't know. And the crazy thing about the genetic disorder, she shouldn't even be able to dance the way she dances, but she does. And so she was just stressed. And I said, baby, listen to me. Because I said, you didn't come home because she was trying to pass whatever it was to teach. And I was like, so it sounds like to me you're changing your major. And she was like, well, no, ma'am, I'm still going to minor in. I was like, that's not what we talked about. And sometimes, even though our children are grown, because the world says 18 is grown. 18 is not grown. Their brain isn't fully developed. Actually, I think it's 22 before the brain is fully developed. And even then, you still have room to learn. It's just, they're not grown. And keep in mind, I know my children. I wish I had have known the things that they know about themselves now, like ADHD. I didn't get diagnosed till I was 34. So all the impulsive things that I did, all the stupid ish that I did, I probably wouldn't have done had I've known. Hey, Voodoo, thank you for coming in. Had I've known and understood what impulsivity was like. Had I've known and understood why I couldn't take standardized testing. Had I known and understood why I procrastinate, but had tools to figure out how not to. So when it came to college, my daughter has been and always will be successful because she understood what she needed to do with or without medication to ensure that she was successful. And she'll be graduating this December with her master's in to teach. So we're sitting in the advisor's office. We make an appointment. Now, mind you, this is also for some of you younger ones. I thank God that my daughter, at the age of, she had to have been 21, trusted me enough to have a conversation with me about school. But not only that, trusted me enough to walk her through the process. Triple S says, oh yes, I understand. I literally went to a big city to get away from a small town, made many mistakes in the big because my brain was not mature yet at 21. Exactly. And so we're sitting in the, myself and my husband, and we met with the advisor. And I said, from the beginning, it's always been theater arts with a concentration in performance. I know she wants to teach, but that wasn't the initial plan. So how can she do both? Because the whole purpose of her coming back to Memphis was to do both. We knew when she went to Martin that Memphis had the best theater arts program, but it was about her being able to get away and grow. So the whole purpose of you being back in Memphis is so that you can do two things that you want to do. And so the advisor explained to her that she needed to keep the path of getting her degree in theater arts with a concentration in performance, and then get her master's in teaching. And so once that plan was established, because she broke down and she cried in there. And I was like, no, baby, hold on. We're gonna get through this. Don't cry. Let's talk it through. We talked it through. We figured the path. She took the, because at that time, even though she didn't have a master's in teaching, because she had a degree in theater arts, with the concentration in performance, she could take the theater praxis. She was struggling with passing the whatever the general, I guess, ed praxis was, but she didn't need a general ed praxis. She just needed the praxis focusing on the area that she wanted to work in. She passed that praxis with no problem. So she started out as a teacher's assistant. The next thing you know, she got a job as a teacher at one of the best, what do you call it, Kappa Creative Arts and Performing Schools here in Memphis. So for that, I'm proud, and especially at her age. So she was offered another opportunity to go to a better school, but because she didn't know about it, didn't discuss it with me. By the time we did discuss it, it was too late. Somebody else already had it, but that's okay. Like I told her, don't split it. They may not have been God's plan anyway for you. You know, we want to stick to God's plan. And I know everybody don't believe in God, so that's not me even pushing God. But I know that we're all created with something special in us. And those are the things that we need to cultivate. Those are the things that we need to master. Like just because singing comes naturally doesn't mean. And my daughter, like, people used to tell her all the time, oh, you're gonna sing just like your mother. Oh no, I used to say it in front of her, she's gonna be better than her mother. And when I say she's better than her mother, baby, she hit riffs in what does Auntie Charlene says, the sopranos are heaven's, they sing in the key of heaven's angels. Baby, she can sing in the highest range and in the lowest range. I can't sing in the lowest range, and hell, barely with all this weight on me hitting all the high notes I used to hit as the first soprano. However, now here I am. Her life is boom. Now I'm here with a son whose gift is percussion. It's his gift. From before he could walk, at church, playing drums with his fingers. I'm telling him, son, do the thing that you love to do. Well, Mom, I can't go to school for percussion. Yes, you can. Because guess what? You don't have to go to a college for that, even though Tennessee offers free community college for all students, which I absolutely love. I think if Governor Bill Haslam, we can talk about him, but he did a lot of things while he was in office for our children as well as individuals with different abilities. I will give him that. I can't take that from him at all. So I was like, you already with one of the greatest drummers in Memphis. He is. He teaches him, gives him lessons or whatever. So now you're out of school. So you have more time to take more lessons with him. But not only that, of course, I still have contacts within the music industry locally. So if this is what you want to do, let's pursue this. Let's go this way. He said, well, Mama, Grandma wants me to go to college, so I at least want to go to community college. Okay, great. What are we doing there? Because it's free. Even though it's free, what are we going for? What is our trade going to be? What are we going to walk away with? Because at the end of the day, you still need to go for something that's going to benefit you, something that you're going to love, something that you're going to want to do. My nephew can sing. My nephew can rap. My nephew can write. My daughter also writes music. He came to me in September. He was not in school. He had been unenrolled, 10th grade. Him and my son are literally 3 months apart. They're two brothers' children. I say that all the time because I want to make sure that I give my husband the due, benevolence and honor that he's deserved because he's been my nephew's uncle since the night before I located him, before his dad's funeral. And so this is my first husband's nephew. However, he's my nephew. From the day he was born, my son, they're 3 months apart. They were going to be close, and I made sure that whether I was with his father or not. His mother, thankfully, trusts me enough. And one, because I kept open the door in a relationship with him to allow me to nurture him in a time that she could not. And I respect her so much for that. More so because those young men needed each other at that time. They really did. They were both hurting. They were both going through. And it was just a whole nother sense of happiness that came about with them. Now, with him, son, what do you want to do? He has several songs already recorded that he does from his phone. He also has a best friend whose father created him a studio, so that they could, not be in trouble. But not only that, he's been really dropping music and making beats. So, I want to go to college. What do you want to go to college for? Something with music. Okay, great. So 4 years or 2. I don't want to go 4, auntie. Understandable. So guess what? We have more tech, Tennessee College of Applied, Tennessee College of Applied something, Southwest Early College, Vatterott, several other community colleges that he can go to learn audio and visual and all the different pieces in the back, so you can cut out the middleman. It's all about learning your craft. And everybody has a gift. What do you mean by that, Isha? Glad you asked. Aisha has always been an against the grain type of person. Not intentionally. Not to bring forth discord. Not to... And I had to reconcile with myself to figure that out. Not to bring forth discord, but I'm not a go along to get along type of person, 1. 2, I'm okay with telling you the truth about me as well as what I perceive about you. And if I'm wrong in my perception, I'm big enough to say, I'm sorry, I perceived that, right? All I've ever had was my voice. Nobody ever told me or taught me or even encouraged me to perfect it, if that makes sense. I've always, even in elementary, all through high school, I hated bullies. I'd jump in front of somebody before I let somebody get bullied. It's always been me. I've always believed in being nice to people, not because I want anything in return, but simply because you deserve to be nice to. Like, who just goes around, and I'm not, again, judging anybody, because with the mom I had, I was going to say, who just goes around just being mean to people? But some people do that. It's just in them. It's not me. Never has been me. I said the other day, I think one of the greatest gifts in life was I got to really be raised by my grandparents and sit up under my grandparents. And that allowed me to experience what some would consider hardships, because they weren't. But like I said, I can work a garden. I can till my own soil. I know how to reach out to somebody to come and break up the ground so that we can have the necessary rows to plant. I know how to use the hoe. I know how to plant, sow, harvest, all of that. I can do it. My grandmother taught me how to do it. When it comes to caregiving, people always say, God bless you for that. God bless you for that. No, I watched my grandmother do it. I was excited to go with her to do it. I helped her do it. And so it's in me. It's innate. I don't think twice about it. It ain't nothing that do I get paid for it? No. But I believe that my grandmother lives to be 94 years old. So I believe some longevity comes with being good to people and just treating people right. And so, not knowing that I had ADHD, let's deal with that, I had a lot of impulsivity. I was told that ADHD isn't a black person's thing. That's a white man's disease. Um, my daughter was diagnosed at 7. I did a disservice by saying, we're going to pray this off for you. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus, and we stop in there. But keep in mind, her pediatrician, who was an older black man, said, oh, no, she doesn't have ADHD. If she had ADHD, she would be jumping everywhere. No, that's not her. She wouldn't be able to sit here like this. Not knowing that ADHD has nothing to do, well, I'm not going to say it has nothing to do. Yes, it has something to do with the things we do physically, but majority of the hyperactivity is in our brain. And until you have experienced a brain that continues to go, 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 and the sad part is the brain goes all the time, yet you forget some of the most important things that you need to have accomplished. You just won't get it. And then when you experience, I'll never forget the day that I took medication and I went to work and I realized I was only focusing on what I was doing at that time. If you can do that, don't take that for granted. I'd never experienced it. I didn't know that my brain could be quiet. Like, nobody told me that. I thought everybody's brain just went. No, it can be quiet. So, once I learned that about myself, this is how far I've gotten in school now. This is why I'll be able to graduate in December now. This is why I can multitask and be the caregiver for 3 different people with 3 different sets of needs. Learn about behavior, stand up for kids who are lacking. This is why I can do these things now. Now, mind you, didn't I tell you, I've always had my voice and I've always had it in me to stand up for people. It wasn't until I had my youngest daughter that I learned about advocacy. And it was finally like, wow, there is a place in this world for my voice. There is a place in this world for me to speak how I feel, what I feel, and to make change. The first thing, I was tickled, no shade here, but I guess sometimes you got to add a little bit of something so people don't get too bored, right? So I was tickled this weekend with the whole beef sector commentary on the magazine cover, and I'm gonna just let that be. And so I was thinking, I was like, dang, well, shoot, the first poem I wrote was published in the newspaper, and I was in the 5th grade, just jokingly saying stuff. I was like, oh, does that make me a star? Then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I also wrote another paper that caused me to do the graduation speech locally. Oh, does that make me a star? And I was like, oh, and I've been on the front of the newspaper a couple times. Does that make me, like, I was joking. But the truth is, those things have been in me since I was little. So I'm not talking about the cover, but just the fact that I've always stood up, spoke out for others, but nobody taught me how to do it as a craft, as my gift, if that makes sense. So where am I going with this? Public speaking, A+. Going through partners in policy in Tennessee and learning the law, a breeze. Standing before Congress, expressing our needs and the lack thereof, not a problem. Serving on the Tennessee Autism Council, the Tennessee Council for Autism Spectrum Disorder for West Tennessee, not a problem. But nobody told me that could be a craft. Everybody said, be quiet, Isha. You speak out too much. Be quiet, Isha. That can come across as disrespectful. Hush, Isha. You don't need to, you don't know what anybody can do to you. And mind you, I understand, because it's coming from generations of people who couldn't talk, who didn't have the freedom to speak. But my granddaddy taught me that if it's right, you stand up for it, and you speak and you scream as loud as you got to until you can get the attention that's needed. So back to Kwame and Tommy Sotomayor. I don't know what the argument was about, but I know what I heard today. And unless we as a people can come together, make some decisions, and hold those in place accountable, then we're not going to see change. We can do 1,000,000 panels with 50 million people on them talking about it, discussing it, giving our views and our opinions. But if there's no action in place, it's all blah, 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 as my uncle says, blah, blah, and a blah, 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 because nothing's happening. Right now, I have to, one of the reasons my nephew has to go to summer school is because he sat in Spanish 1 2 years in a row at a charter school, passed both years. That's the problem. That's the problem. Knowing some of the kids that entered into school with my son at a charter school for high school, and their 11th grade year didn't have what they needed, fighting to get the school shut down, and learning that some of these kids still didn't graduate this year. They got to go next year. Who's going to pay for that? Yeah, the school is shut down, but now what? Because for my son, for my nephew, he has to go to summer school. Oh, the person that made the mistake doesn't work here no more. That's not enough, because the mistakes are too often. They're happening too much. Prime example, my son, civics. Now, mind you, when I had to move him, it's 11th grade year. And who wants to move their child the 11th grade year to another school? My son had to speak with the band director. My son had to speak with the principal. My son had to go to the board and plead his case. Well, when I went before the board to express my grievances, I asked the board, for the 11th graders of the school, will you please open up choice transfer again, because they didn't get the opportunity and they need to get out so they can go somewhere so they can make sure that they graduate on time. And it was open. And we had kids with really low GPAs going to level 5 schools that would have never gotten in had they had to go the the regular way or whatever. Did my son benefit from it? No, not from what I asked. But did he benefit from the process? I believe so. He learned how to sit before somebody and speak for himself. He learned how to speak up. He learned how to say what it was that he wanted to do. He learned to express how much he was going to offer, why he would be an asset, all of that. And so I'm saying all of this to say, y'all, I love the conversations that are happening. Even on Saturday, and my goal is to really cut that video down and premiere it again throughout this month. It was to do it this weekend, but I didn't have coverage for my daughter, and you all know she's nonverbal autism, and she's busy, y'all. She is in a destructive state right now where it's just, she threw my baby. Like, I hadn't even told y'all about my new baby and how he's changed my life, and she threw my baby. Like, so it's it's a lot, but at the same time, I'm okay. I got this. I can do this. But the key is, I'm not gonna say I can't make, because words have power. I have to focus on my neighborhood, and I can do that. I can say the things that are going on in my neighborhood. I can say the things that are going on in school systems in my area. I can also speak towards some of the school systems just across the world, across the board, period. And this is going to be another live that I'm probably going to do tomorrow. And his name is probably going to be in my title, but I need to research him a little bit further. I don't want to be a Dr. Umar Johnson. I refuse to charge my people for knowledge that is free. I'm not going to do that. Especially when it's the same knowledge that is used by many, because they're taught, They have people brought into their schools to tell them what they can do. And other schools don't get that. So, I don't know what the argument was about today between Kwame and Tommy Sotomayor. I guess hopefully I'm saying this right. I don't know Tony Sotomayor's stance on children, but I did hear Kwame Brown's. And I'm not going to lie, I super chatted him and I told him, I was like, I can give you the information regarding our young men and our young women if I just have the platform where my voice can be heard. Because we got it wrong. We think we have it right, but we have it wrong. And I can say this because I've seen it in my own home. The things that I've seen just in the last couple of days with our children, period, culturally, has me sick to my stomach. From, I was going to call him something else, but let me call his name, Mr. O'Neill, being able to, what do you call it, question his own child that he stabbed in a trial, to the young baby, I think his name is Trey, in Atlanta, whose mom or stepdad cut his hair and wrote gay in his hair, cut it into his hair because he identifies as a gay child. We got this thing wrong. Like, we as a culture, as a people, we have it wrong. And I'm not saying I have all the answers. I've told you guys before, I always say, in my unprofessional opinion, because I'm not a professional on any level to any of these things. I'm just a parent who wants the best for everybody's child, not just mine. Not just mine. But when you're living, and that's the other thing, I talked about with a friend about creating some type of boot camp this summer for the young men just in my neighborhood, just to teach them how to speak up, because I'm so sick of these boys mumbling. Speak up, speak clearly. Your voice deserves to be heard. I want to hear you. So I'm not saying speak up just because I want to be petty and I feel like you're mumbling. I want to hear you. You have something to say that I need to hear. Please speak louder, clearer, so I can understand. I want to teach them. I can't teach them. So this is what the boot camp would be about. How to shake hands with a man properly. How to look a man in the eye properly. How to have a conversation without your cell phone in your hand and show a person that you're paying attention. Hi, after God's own heart, God's child. Thank you for coming in. Those are the things that I desire to do. So when I presented that, the friend was like, you should at least charge $10. I was like, no, seriously, you should charge $10 because, or at least $5, because if they pay something, then they'll pay more. No. How do you go into an area that's already destitute? And I can say that because I live there and I see these children going up and down the street daily. Some of them not looking like someone is truly caring for them, or it's somebody that's having to care for them. So the oldest child is having to watch the younger children. How dare I, again, try to charge my people for what is free? That doesn't make sense to me. And so somebody from a business perspective may be saying, well, it doesn't make sense to me, though, for you to spend your time for free. No, it's not for free. Because guess what? If I put it out there and those kids get it, that means that they can bring it back. So that means when I'm older, I ain't got to worry about them cussing me out. I ain't got to worry about them coming in my house and as one of my friends say, right around what was that, 1995, 1996. I'm thinking when my mind's playing tricks on me came out, that whole crazy rap, what did he say? Walk up to your house, knock on your door, and blow your head out. I'm saying, like, what? Like, what? Huh? So not having to worry about that. So why not sow into an area that I live in now? I'm still young. I ain't going nowhere. That's legacy property. I'm learning about legacy property. I'm teaching my children about legacy property. Because what we fail to realize, even with legacy property, is guess what? Some of that property, how can I say this? Some of that property was already wanted, but because it was settled upon by Native Americans or um, what they call freedman's land for slaves that were freed, they didn't get it. But now it's looking real beneficial. Now it's looking real, what's the word? Appealing. And so, are you willing to sell your home? No, no, mm-mm, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And if we would get that way about the neighborhoods that we live in and own property in now, you would see some changes. You really would. Even in our school systems, I look at the number of schools that we've had to close, and we have school choice, but yet charter schools aren't held to the same standard as public schools. They get to write their own charter, so basically they get to write their own rules. And I hope parents know. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do I did a series about this before, but I think I'm gonna do a series about it again. When your child is in a public school, in a charter school, there's a process you have to follow before you can ever address the superintendent of the public school system, because you signed up to put your child under that charter school's charter. And so it's imperative that if you're going to use a charter school, if you're going to go to charter school, because I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. My first one graduated from a charter school, and it was amazing when she was there. Things changed. So my son didn't go. But they definitely prepare her. One of the greatest things that they did was every Wednesday was Business Wednesday. You had to come in either in business attire or business casual. I think that should be every school across the board. Because my son went to work today for his first time, and he had on a pair of jeans. Y'all, I wanted to fight him. I wanted to fight him. But he talked to his manager. His manager said, "Oh, you'll be on the computer all day, so it's fine." I don't care that it's fine. No child of mine should be going to his first day in a pair of jeans. But because I had to get my daughter to therapy, we ain't had time to argue and fight about that. And well, we ain't gonna be no arguing and fight about it. I ain't had time to wait on him to change clothes. Because we're not arguing and fighting in my house. 18 may be grown, and you may can go into the army and do all that other stuff. But in my house, it's not grown. You ain't grown till you get your own. You better ask my oldest. She was grown at 24 when she left my house and married her husband. Yes. Absolutely. And because guess what? If I go move in with somebody because for whatever reason, their rules apply. I don't care if I'm 50. Not my rules. I have to respect their environment. And I think we've lost the art of respect. And respect is necessary for us to go anywhere. Respect is necessary. Respect has gotten me in places that a degree has not. And that's just me being real. So I have to say, again, I don't know what the argument was about, but how do the kids fit in this? And in the end, when do we stop just talking? Where's the action? Like, one of the things that I love about my husband, he used to be in human resources, but it's also something that I was taught by my grandfather, and my husband kind of just brought it back to me. Don't ever bring forth a problem if you don't have a solution. So we can talk about the problems, but make sure you have some solutions. Because if you don't have solutions and you're just bringing up the problems, then you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. And so, yeah, I I'm about to go off, or not go off, get off. That conversation and just the things that I've seen happen with our kids sparked me. Even the young man in Atlanta and being in foster system. My prayer is that those who advocated for him to be pulled out of the home are watching that foster system closely, because the foster system is not one of the greatest places. I'm just going to tell you the truth, and it's supposed to be a place to protect. But I can assure you that baby probably would have been better at home with someone coming in. Well, I know for sure he would have been better at home than to just be snatched away and placed into a facility or a foster home. Because believe it or not, I know quite a few people who have who foster children, and one of their thank you, and one of the things that they always check on there is, I don't want a gay child. I don't want a child that's homosexual. I don't want a child that identifies as anything other than their birth gender. And that's scary. It's scary that people can actually pick and choose what they want. So yeah, but that's a whole nother thing. So, and my other prayer is that his mother gets some help. Y'all, let's not act like we hadn't had years of misunderstanding, years of lies, years of traditions, and beliefs and thoughts, even by the media, taught to us to look at those in the LGBTQIA plus community a particular way. And that mess has to be unlearned. And until it can be unlearned, then people are still going to feel the way they feel. And so for his, and I guess it was the boyfriend, mom's boyfriend, I don't know. That means she needs some training. She needs some lessons. And I'm going to leave here. I'm not the best mother in the world. Y'all, parenting does not come with a book. They have some books out here, but they don't apply to every child. I mean, you can read through them. I have read some. They don't apply to every child. When I had to make a decision that I would not be the mother to my daughter that my mother was to me. And I also, crazy enough, when I was pregnant, prayed that I had a girl so that my mom could get the opportunity to get it right, because it wasn't right with her and I. What made me think that way at 17 years old, I don't know. But my daughter and my mother had a beautiful relationship. My son and my mother, a beautiful relationship. Best mother? No. Amazing grandmother? Absolutely. Absolutely. So what did it take though? It took me also saying things that I wouldn't accept in order for her to be around my children. Because I knew the things that she could do. So yeah, when I decided that it was time for me to leave my first marriage, I went and sought help. I got parenting classes, not because a judge told me to, absolutely not. I went to parenting classes before I ever filed for divorce because I wanted to make sure that I didn't turn into a monster. And the sad part is, even with the teachings, because of the things that happen to us, some of those things reside. So daily, I check myself daily. If I feel myself getting too upset with my kids, I step away. I'm not going to argue with you about cleaning up a room, and it may sound so like, oh my God, she let her kids keep. No, I'm going to tell you to clean it up and do all that. But we're not going to argue because I'm the parent. So ain't no arguing going on, period. Even when you're an adult, you still owe me respect. And guess what? I'm going to respect you as a child and as an adult. There's nothing wrong with apologizing to our children. Good morning, Simply Living Life with Raina. I'm sorry. It's just this one kind of, yeah. There's nothing wrong with apologizing to our children. I've had to do it quite a few times. But it shows them that as parents, we're humans. We don't have it all together. And then I didn't understand, but I understand now. I remember when it was one of my church members, and I was like, y'all let these grandbabies get away with anything. What is it? And she was like, girl, I don't know. It's something about these grandchildren. But now I see. It's almost like, okay, God, you give me another chance. I get to do this, and I get to do this right. It's not just about spoiling them and sending them home. No. It's about also sowing something into them that will carry on long after you're gone. I'm a result of that. So yeah, that's all I got for today. Thank you guys for being a sounding board for me, because my heart is a lot lighter than it was when I first started this video. Mr. Brown, Mr. Sotomayor, and I'm going to even throw Omar in here. Like, and it's hard for me to, I believe in calling people doctor, but how do you sell your people something that's already free? Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. But the best thing I can say is learn yourself. Teach your children to learn themselves. When you see their gifts, help them develop it. Every child is not a football player. Every child is not a basketball player. Try introducing some other sports, golf, tennis, racquetball, water polo. It's another one that I hate. One of my nephews played it, and it's just so gruesome. It's like football, but it's not. But they don't wear the pads and stuff. I forget what they call it. But still, there's other things that they can learn. Art. My niece has been drawing since forever. I get excited to buy her art supplies. Amazon deal of the day is my kryptonite. I will go on there just looking for stuff, and yesterday I was able to give her some things, and I got her some sketch pencils, and I was so excited. I was like, it was like 9B, 9H. I was like, I don't know what this means, but it's through these. And then I was like, oh my God, they got a tutorial on this particular website. And I didn't even know that they came with the pencil on how to do sketching and all that. Let me know if it costs anything. Like, because it's her gift. It's what she does. So next, guess what we're going to be doing this summer? What type of jobs can she get with drawing, sketching, painting? There's several. several different fields she can get into. So this was an hour, and I did not mean to do that. I didn't even really have an hour to give today. But that was heavy on my heart after hearing that, and just all the things that have gone on with our children. Guys, encourage your children to be the best that they are. Also, listen to them, because sometimes if we listen, we not only can know how to guide them, but we can find the issue if there is an issue. I've shared it before, but my son was having trouble in computer applications, and I couldn't figure out why. I went and sat in his class one day, just sat in his class. Y'all, I took my medicine that morning because, again, I have ADHD. My son chose to stop taking his medicine in 2017, and it was typically managed at home. So there were some things that I had to do, and I'm gonna talk about those things so we can understand what the school's responsibility is when our children experience some trauma, or our children are going through something at home that could affect them at school, because there is a responsibility that the school has as well to ensure that the child can learn what they need to learn. But Lord, I just lost my train of thought. Yep, that's gone, y'all. I'll put it in the comments because it just went away. I don't even know what the last thing I was saying. I was talking about my son and sitting in his class. I'm very much interested. Please share them with me. Actually, I'm very much interested because I'm looking for something for my daughter, my youngest daughter. I'm actually considering possible CBD for her. I went and sat in that class. Y'all, I had took my ADHD medicine. Okay? I had had a cup of coffee. It was so much going on in that class that I could not concentrate. And if I could not concentrate and focus, and I'm an adult that knows how to sit and focus and concentrate, I took my medicine, I had some coffee. I can't imagine how bad it was for my son or anybody else in that class. So sometimes it requires us going to the building, sitting down and like, because everybody doesn't learn the same. Everybody doesn't. So that's all I got right now, guys. Actually, I have a lot more. Like, there's so much pouring out of me right now that I guess I'll write it down. Because even right down to this whole pandemic and how children had to be home. And I find it so funny that now trying to push them back in the school system, the one thing they're talking about is socialization. When I know I was told, I ain't send you to school to socialize. I don't send you to school to make friends. I don't send you to school to talk. Yes, ma'am, you can. Thank you so much. So if that's the case, what are we doing? What are we doing? Did you know kids that are homeschooled only have to do 4 hours of schooling each day? Do you know that some of that schooling can come from natural teaching? Science can be taught by looking at the moon at night. Exactly. Raina, but they're swearing that these kids need to be in school because they're missing out on socialization. When to socialize in school? Because most of them can't even talk in the lunchroom. Have you ever went to have lunch with your child and hear like this? That stuff is creepy to me. To go into a lunchroom and it is completely silent, a silent lunch. The hell? So yeah, I'm off my soapbox. I rarely get on one. I don't know. I don't even think I was on the soapbox. I was just trying to drop y'all a little help this morning. And I don't know, something about the stuff that Kwame was saying hit home. And it was like he wants someone to point him in the right direction. And baby, I'm not going to lie to you. Call me, pick me, clout chaser, whatever, because it wasn't none of that. But I literally was like, hey, I got it. I know I can help you. Hear me. Just talk to me. I can help you. Not because I'm this smart person but no, because I live it. I live it. I see it. And yeah, back to the charter schools real quick. So they told me my son didn't take civics. I knew that he didn't take civics. He didn't pass the civics test. I knew he passed it. They wanted him to take the civics test. This is him coming from a charter school, going to a regular school, public school. They wanted him to take it. I said no. The counselor said to me, Miss Thomas, now you know he is super smart and he's going to pass this test. I said no. He gave up a lot last year having to leave a school that he had been at. So now he's already here at another school. Thankfully, he's with some of his cohorts that he was with in middle school. But no, he's not taking the test again. I don't care how smart he is. Y'all need to find it because I know he passed it. So they kind of put me on the humbug. So I emailed the board, the charter school office, and I told them, you say, yes, I homeschool now. And for science, we learn edible and medicine plants this year. Absolutely. 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 And like, people think that homeschool these kids are, no. One of my nephews was homeschooled. Well, one of my brother-in-laws homeschooled all his children and grandchildren. One of my nephews worked for Google. Can make his own program. So no. What's in a kid is in a kid. It's just us that we got to figure out how to nurture them and put them in the programs that help them nurture it. So back to my son in this test, I emailed the board because my baby was not finna have to take the test. I don't care if it was 5 minutes and he could have aced it in 3. It's about principle. And when I say principle, not the principle, it's about principle and holding these people accountable. You're an adult that's getting paid. It ain't my fault you done lost my baby's paperwork in the shuffle. It ain't my fault that y'all can't determine. Even the records department was like, well, I don't know. Okay, good. I know how to handle this. Baby, I don't care if I had to go to the state Tennessee Department of Education. My baby wasn't going to take the test again because I know he passed it. I know he passed it. And so if anything, walk away with holding people accountable for the things that they're supposed to be doing. Get to know your representatives in your neighborhood that's supposed to be repping you. The same thing with this water line, oil pipeline that they tried to run through my grandparents' property. For someone over the district to tell me, I asked, how did this get by you? And you say, well, I didn't know. They didn't tell me anything. It slipped past me too. Ma'am, you've been in office since 1996. You and my child, 25 years? 25 years? And a study was done in 2013 that says the population down there, Heights and Vales, that says the air quality down there is 4 times higher than the national average for cancer. And that study was done in 2013. I didn't find out about it to the end of 2021, but you've been in office since 1996? No. So I encourage you, I don't care what neighborhood you live in, start holding your representatives accountable. Start holding your school board representatives accountable. And when it comes to learning education, don't y'all listen. It's out there. There's a parent training center in every state. They have to train you. So for Dr. Umar Johnson to be selling the Black Parent Advocacy Guide pisses me off. Because you're charging your people for knowledge that is free. You're out of order, sir. Out of order. So with that being said, y'all, I am done. I'm about to got my good cold brew with my extra shot. It's leaking. With my extra shots of espresso. I'm going to go and try to edit the video from Saturday so that I can replay it a couple of more times because Dr. Anthony definitely gave us some great info. He and I will be collabing more for sure again for Pride Month. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Sending lots of love, peace, joy, and blessings your way. And remember, you're responsible for your own happiness. Peace. I never figure out how to get out of here. Oh, okay. Bye, y'all.